We are off next week. Let me start by saying that. We haven't missed an episode of this podcast in almost 2 years, but this holiday season finally did it. It finally did it. It did me in. I need a break. We are taking next week off. Caitlin is going out of town. Might be a little weird for my family if I podcast round the Christmas tree on Monday, which is when we normally record. So we are off next week. So because of that, I'm going to whip you guys into shape about your New Year's goals now. We're going to talk New Year's stuff now. We're going to get everyone in shape. Certainly, I am motivated about the new year rolling around. I said in the last episode, I will be a candidate to be on my 600-pound life after this December. We talked in the last episode about how not every week is a week to be crushing it with your fitness goals, your diet goals. If you have big, heavy challenges that you are facing, look, it's great if you can pull it off. If you have the wherewithal to do your 14-mile morning run when you're taking care of an elderly loved one and there's a health crisis and a financial crisis and your kids are having issues at school, if you can still get your run in, great, good for you. I do think it adds value to your life, but for a lot of us, we just can't do it. We don't get the endorphins from that kind of healthy living. Some of us get endorphins from carbs and alcohol. I mean, let's just be blunt. So I do think there's a place for saying, I can't right now. I can't this week. And I really will get back to it. I really will get back on track. And I think New Year's is a perfect time to do that. So we will talk about goal setting and I will choose my word for the year live on the air here. Caitlin, do you want to choose one too?
Yeah, why not?
And then my daughter Pammy is going to stop by the show as well. We will talk about that. We'll talk about a big media appearance that just dropped. Lots of good stuff to get to today. As usual, we will get to the main topic in the second half of the show. And for those of you watching on YouTube, jfonyoutube.com, I don't know what I'm wearing either. We had to kill 5 wildebeests, albino wildebeests, to create this jacket. So I hope everyone respects it. Anyway, welcome to the Jen Fulwiler Show. I am your host, Jen. We are coming to you from Austin, Texas. Our fabulous producer is Caitlin White, and this is the podcast where you learn the art of the village hustle. That's being a hot girl boss or hot boy boss who knows that love and family and community are the foundations of all true success. I am your host, Jen, and I am a best-selling author, stand-up comic, and mom of 6. I had 6 babies in 8 years. We put a lot of great premium content on the Patreon. We have the Village Hustle level, which is the higher level. That's basically just where I'm your life coach each week, and I do little get ready with me videos where I kind of just go into life coach mode. And then on the lower level, we have the after party after each show, and we will do an after party after this show as well, as we always do. You guys are crushing it with your Apple Podcast reviews. I just have to read one here. She says, the title is, I Count the Days Till the Next Episode. She says, I love listening to this podcast when I'm feeling lonely because I'm a stay-at-home mom of 2 under 2 and everyone in my village works 9 to 5. This is the best part. She says, the Jen Fulwiler Show is like having a friend who is brilliant 80% of the time and actually insane and or tipsy the other 20%.
Nailed it.
Yeah. You know what else she did? So then she says, P.S. I love Jen's confident energy. Maybe in error, but never in doubt. I'm going to make that the new tagline for this podcast. Maybe in error, never in doubt. She says, absolute goals. Keep doing what you're doing. Incredible. That all the reviews this week were good, but that one made my day. Maybe in error, never in doubt. And so 80% of the time, I'm brilliant. 20% of the time, I'm tipsy or insane. It's like she can read my soul. I mean, this is truly, that is such an accurate assessment of this podcast, except 80% might be high on the brilliance. I think it might be flipped. Like, 20% brilliance, 80% tipsy and insane. Especially this month, man. I have not been responsible this month at all. I've said to you guys before that my husband and I have a marriage where we act like we are 20-year-olds who just started dating. We've been married 20 years, and we act like we are young people who are newly dating. There are pros and cons to this, and especially when it's the holiday season and the kids are out of school, there's less work for everyone to do. I'm off tour. He's not doing as much work. Honestly, it can be exhausting, especially when you bring an inflatable hot tub into the equation. It has truly turned our house into party central. 4 to 5 nights a week, there seems to be a party at my house. And honestly, it's getting exhausting. So I think that is the caution I would give you. If you are going to buy a $250 inflatable hot tub at Walmart, you need to know that it will be like a mothership for all the bros in the neighborhood has landed. You won't even have to tell them you have an inflatable hot tub. They will just sense it. Every broy beer drinking guy you know will sense something shift in the force. They will find your hot tub. They will come hang out, and you will have people at your house until 1 o'clock in the morning drinking beer in your hot tub on a Monday night. This is how we have been living, and it is why I am visibly exhausted. It's not because I've been like grinding too hard on my goals. It's because we have an inflatable hot tub. It's killing me. The partying at my house, like we have to find some balance here. Man, let me tell you, if we got rid of that hot tub, I think I would be back on this podcast, fresh-faced, just like, hey guys, I worked out this morning and I've been doing intermittent fasting and I'm losing weight, and instead I'm tired, I'm fat. That's why I'm wearing the wildebeest jacket today, because we have to cover up all the roles. I killed 5 albino wildebeests to make this jacket because I have so many roles because all I do during winter is eat cookies and drink eggnog. It's incredible. I need this month to end. It's too much goodness. It's too much socializing. I'm ready for the new year. I'm ready for Lent. I'm ready for fasting. I can't wait. Okay, so let us begin. Let us begin with exciting news. I was on the Dr. Drew podcast. It is called After Dark. And yes, it is a sex podcast. I got invited on a sex podcast called After Dark. And Caitlin, you can play this clip. What's interesting is we talked a lot about just life and balance and things like that. Here's an example. Here's a clip from the show. It's interesting that we live in this culture where, like, we've got David Goggins, who I'm the biggest fan of, and he'll be like, you got to run 12 miles so that you can get fit or whatever. And when it comes to the fitness realm, when it comes to the diet realm, we intuitively understand that it's not sacrifice in the sense of something bad. There's this incredible payoff. And so I was like the David Goggins of pregnancy, that I didn't see it as this woe is me martyr sacrifice. Mm-hmm. It was like, I'm getting a whole squad here. I'm really socially awkward. This is a chance to have 6 friends. So that was recorded in mid-November before we had the hot tub. See, I see that video of myself there and I'm like, oh, those were the days. Like, yeah. I think I wasn't drinking beer in a hot tub till 2 o'clock in the morning the night before I recorded that. I remember that. I remember having energy and feeling fit and healthy and on my game. And like, I wasn't becoming a hot tub wastoid. Those were the days. I'm becoming a hot tub person. It's like, it takes over your life, guys. So what I love is that I'm getting a really good response to the interview. People, they love it. They're excited that I was on the show. The YMH Podcast Network fans, the Dr. Drew fans, they've been so welcoming and supportive of my presence. As you can see, Caitlin, pull up this comment here. They love it. They loved having me on the show. Would you like to read this for our dear listeners, Caitlin?
Oh, sure. So the first comment says, "Who is this?" And then the one that follows it up says, "Someone who is clearly mentally ill, makes terrible life choices, and probably isn't that funny."
The only thing I'd really argue with there is the not funny part. Like, yeah, you nailed it. Other than that, great assessment there. No, it's all negative. And what's so funny, that's good, Caitlin, thanks. What's so funny is on the YouTube, people are bonding on how much they hate me. And it's honestly kind of sweet. I'm pro village. And even if a village comes together united on one thing and one thing only, and that is how much I suck, that's still inspiring to see, because people were like, man, I thought I was the only one who hated this woman, and I come to the comments and I see that all you guys hate her too, and like, wow, guys, this is incredible. It's so good to know I'm not alone. So those are the comments, and it is honestly inspiring to see a village of Jen hate come together, to see that these people are discovering all that they have in common with one another from watching this episode. What's crazy is that, I mean, he brought up the Catholic contraception thing. Well, and by the way, okay, let's say this too. I was a little bit set up for failure, and I don't say this as a criticism, because we are all about getting views on YouTube, and some people have figured out how to do it, and others, me, have not. And so they intentionally chose a title that would be attention getting. So the thumbnail on the Dr. Drew After Dark episode that I am on says Catholics and contraception. And so even though we only talked about natural family planning, contraception for a small part of the episode, I think that's one of the reasons that people did not like me, because I don't do contraception. And so that is fair, and that is fine. And that is life in the modern entertainment industry. But I just want to say, Caitlin, hit the special sound effect for when I briefly want to say something to the Catholic ghetto. Mm-hmm. I just want to say, Catholic ghetto, I deserve a punch in my Catholic ghetto punch card. I should be invited to speak at Seek at the whatever that big youth conference at DCYC or something. I should get some sort of keynote at a major Catholic event, perhaps a papal event. I'm open to all possibilities, because I went on the YMH After Dark Sex podcast with Dr. Drew, and I gave a little anti-contraception spiel. I talked about how I didn't use contraception, do sterilization, even when I had life-threatening pregnancy issues. Like, I really could not get pregnant again. I dropped the names Marquette Method, Creighton Method. Who else? Who else is on the After Dark Sex podcast talking about the Catholic view of contraception? He even brought up Aquinas. Do you know how hard it is to accomplish that? Like, to get on these kinds of podcasts? I got people talking about Aquinas. So I think I get 3 punches in the Catholic ghetto punch card for that one. I know a lot of you guys have still not forgiven me for the Dita Von Teese thing, but I feel like this balances it out.
Just brought it back.
A little bit. Speaking of which, that was the villain era episode. You can, if you want to know about that dust up, could you look up what episode villain era was? So if you want to know that whole backstory, it's the episode is called Villain Era, and that's the one of the whole time we have been doing this podcast. That's the one that I probably came closest to not publishing. So anyway, it was this whole dust up, but the upshot of it was Dita Von Teese ended up following me on Instagram, and she still follows me. She watches my Instagram stories and all that. And when I posted the reel about Joe getting an inflatable hot tub, she liked it. So that was all worth it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it was episode 140, January 25th, 2023, Villain Era, episode 140 from January 25th of 2023. You can look that up. That it's one of the most popular episodes we've ever done, and I almost didn't publish it. But so that was the whole Dita Von Teese thing. And but it was all worth it for the fact that Dita Von Teese liked my inflatable hot tub reel. I don't care for all the people sending me nasty DMs and so, and then just constructive criticism DMs. It was all worth it for her to follow me and then have her like my inflatable hot tub reel. I feel like we actually need to take a minute with that. This is, why do I have goals beyond this? I've already achieved the pinnacle of the human experience. Think about this. I got an inflatable hot tub for $248 at Walmart. I posted about it. It went viral. And Dita Von Teese liked it. I mean, who cares about New Year's resolutions when you're already winning at that level? That's just being greedy to want more out of life than that. Got Dita Von Teese liking my posts. I've got a Walmart hot tub. I mean, I don't need I don't need more than that. What's great too is like I don't even need money. I mean, we could end up being homeless and we could just take the hot tub with us because all you need is a plug. You just need a plug, and it has handles. So when you get the water out of it, I mean I think you could almost put it in a backpack if you deflate it. And so we could be homeless and just have an inflatable hot tub. I could still have my iPhone, still be posting stuff that Dita Von Teese likes. I mean, even if the Comedy Millions don't come in, I think I'm set either way.
Some people have an inflatable paddleboard. Other people have inflatable hot tubs.
Wait, paddleboard?
Yeah, there's like the thing.
Okay, this is how outdoorsy Caitlin is. I don't even know what a paddleboard is. And Caitlin says this like, you know how it is. Some people have an inflatable paddleboard. I'm like, what's a paddleboard? Is that? I thought that's what you resuscitate people with when they have a heart attack. Is this what you outdoorsy people you do? What is that?
Yeah, it's like it's like a, gosh, now I'm gonna butcher this one. Like a big old surfboard that you just stand on top of on the water, and you balance and you paddle.
That's fun and has a purpose. Yes. I could wear this outfit to go paddleboard, right? I could wear my wildebeest jacket to go paddleboard. The idea is
you're not supposed to get wet, so yes.
Wait, you're standing on a board on the water. I mean,
I don't get it.
It would be kind of funny if someone in a motorboat came by and then the wake just took out all the paddleboarders. No, not splash them. They just bounce right off their boards. Does anyone ever not fall when they have a paddleboard?
It depends. If you don't have good balance, I'm sure you fall off, which would be me. So, yes.
Hit the tangent alert button. I think that this is a good litmus test of what you like to do for fun. Because I bet there are people in the world who enjoy paddleboarding, right? Like at least a couple. There are people who do this.
There's this thing every summer that people get together, like a horde of people, and it's called Paddleboard Island on Lake Austin. It's the wildest thing I've ever seen. I will not be doing that.
What is paddleboard? They go to an island?
A bunch of random people that make an island out of their paddleboards because they all group together.
Oh my gosh. They could just meet at a bar.
That's an
introvert's why? Yeah, because here's the other thing: you can't talk to people because I assume you cannot walk across a bunch of different paddle boards. So you're just stuck, kind of locked into the two people whose paddle boards are right next to you. Okay, see, this is like people who would do that. Their brains could not be more different than mine. I'm like. I could seriously lock myself in a room. Well, I've done this. When I was writing my books, I would sit in a dark room for 14 hours easy. I mean, sometimes more like 16. And it would just be a dark room, me and a screen, and I would just write. I would take some breaks. You can't really write for 16 hours straight. So I would take some breaks and just, I don't know, listen to music or something. But a lot of times I wouldn't leave the room. And I was like, how lucky am I that I get to live this life? I mean, I want for nothing. I'm in a dark room writing for 16 hours and not interacting with anyone and seeing no sunlight, and I'm not on a paddleboard island. This is the perfect life. And the diversity of the human mind is fascinating, that there are people who want to be on paddleboard island and there are people who want to be locked in a dark room writing for 16 hours, like that. I mean, I was really like, everyone would be so jealous of me if they knew that I got to have this time. Like, how incredible. It's one time when we flew back from Rome, it was like a 9-hour flight. And I just felt like it wasn't long enough to do all the thinking because I just sat there and I was thinking the whole time. And when it landed, I was like, dang it.
I wasn't
out of time. Like I was like, these flights aren't long enough to like think all the thoughts and do all the journaling that I want to do. It is. And see, I bring this up actually because it is important to know what kind of wiring you have. There was a time, as crazy as this sounds, when I was in my 20s, I really didn't know myself. And one time, Joe talked me into biking to ACL Fest, this massive live music festival that we do in Austin. And I didn't know that I am the kind of person who would rather die than bike anywhere ever or go to a live music festival. Like nothing, there's nothing less for Jen than that. And this was one of the first ACL Fests before they realized that if you are going to do an outdoor music festival in Austin, do not do it in the summer. It was early September, so it was like 100 degrees. We're all dying of heat stroke, and everyone, all these hippies were like high and just wandering around and peeing everywhere, and the bottles of water were $15. And but I was telling myself that I was having fun because everyone I knew liked that kind of thing. So it was like, live music festivals are fun. This is fun. What's not to love about this? What's not to love about heat stroke? What's not to love about having no place to sit on the ground? Like, hey, there's a long line for the porta potty, and then you get in there and there's no toilet paper and it just reeks of other people's excrement. And some hippie peed on the walls. This is fantastic. I love it because I love live music, because you're supposed to love live music. And I love biking back. I mean, it's all amazing. And it was a real epiphany when I was like, oh, you will literally have to kill me before, like, you try to get me to do something like that again. Like, I hate it. It's so not for me. So as we approach the new year, as you think of what you want out of life and that sort of thing, you should really get honest about what you like and don't like, especially for my younger listeners. That's the biggest growing population of this fan base. I increasingly hear from people who are younger than 25. We've got some 14-year-olds listening to the podcast. So you guys might not know what you really like and don't like. And I just really encourage you, as you go about your life, as you do things for fun with your friends, to just ask yourself what seems like an obvious question, but you maybe have never asked. Do I like this at all? Or is this terrible and not fun for me? Because there's so many things in life you're supposed to like Disneyland, that it's absolute torture. And like, my kids don't even like stuff like that. We don't like standing in lines. We don't like the kind of fakeness of it all. It's just not for us. It's not our vibe, but you're supposed to like it. So a lot of times you convince yourself that the things you're supposed to like are the things you actually like. So you need to, I would, if you've never done that, make that your project for the new year. Think about what you actually like and see if maybe there are some areas of life where you're doing things, quote unquote, for fun, because they're supposed to be fun, not because they are actually fun for you. By the way, before I get into the main topic of setting goals, getting this all together, before I get into that main topic, I want to remind you that we do the Village Hustle Patreon. We also have the After Party Patreon level, and you get that as well when you do the Village Hustle level. What we talked about this week, it was episode 21 of the Village Hustle Patreon. I was telling you guys how I was blocked for weeks. I was in this malaise. I couldn't get motivated. I couldn't figure out what was wrong. I thought I had a thyroid disorder. That's how you know when you're really blocked on something and there is an area of life that you really need to deal with, but you're terrified to acknowledge, when you start thinking you have a thyroid disorder. I know the comments are going to be like, Jen, I did have my thyroid exploded and I didn't know it because I listened to your advice. Okay, yes, sometimes you have a legit thyroid disorder. 90% of the time, you have a big scary problem that you just don't want to think about. It's not your thyroid. It's the scary problem that is making you tired. So I talked about how I broke through this block and the specific process I use. There's a specific process. It's pretty well known. Other people use it as well. I found it very effective to identify what is it that is dragging me down and that just makes me in this kind of constant state of malaise and depression. And I broke through, and it was very, very helpful. And if I could just stay out of the inflatable hot tub and stop partying 5 nights a week, I might actually start to get things done in my life and be a productive person again. You can hear about that on episode 21 of the Village Hustle Patreon. That link is in the show notes. You'll see the 2 levels when you click on it. And you can also go directly to patreon.com/thisisjen. That is Jen with 1 N. Patreon.com/thisisjen. Let's talk about New Year's resolutions. And in fact, let me get Pammy over here. Okay. My daughter Pammy wants to choose a word of the year with us. Let's do that first, okay? Let's choose our words for the year. Now, for those of you who don't know, I used to be a programmer, and I created 2 generators. One will choose a saint for you at random. The other will choose a word for you at random. And the idea behind it, my husband doesn't understand this at all. If you want to hear something funny, look up the Word of the Year episode from this time last year, the December 2022 Word of the Year episode. He just doesn't understand it at all. And we must pity him for that because it's the most obvious concept. It's like you choose a theme. So if it's power is your word for the year, you find ways to have more power in different areas of life. Or if it's maybe the word is release. And so you just think of things that you can release this year. What is it time to let go of? Brilliant, simple concept. Super simple. My husband doesn't understand it at all. He's like, you should put the word rad in there. It's like, rad's not a theme. He's like, you should put the word Sith in there, like from Star Wars, Sith. And he's like, because it's just a cool word. I'm like, it's not about choosing random cool words. It's about having a theme. We've been going back and forth on this for years. He does not understand the concept of the word of the year. What I like is for those of us whose lives are crazy and who don't have the kind of life setup where we can do our atomic habits perfectly 365 days a year, having a word that is just a theme is a nice touchstone to come back to. The first time I heard of anyone doing this years and years ago, Anne Voskamp, the writer, her word of the year was yes. And so all year she tried to say yes to more things. If her kids were like, could we go to the county fair? Yes. Saying yes to whatever, like having a certain meal for dinner. I could never have a word like that because I'm saying yes to way too many things right now. Jen, do you want a 4th double fudge chocolate brownie? Yes.
Yes.
Jen, do you want eggnog with that brownie? Yes. Jen, hey, it's 1:45 in the morning. Do you want to get in the inflatable hot tub and have a beer? Yes. So maybe my word of the year should be nope. Nope. Not just no. Nope.
I'm going to laugh
nope,
if it is.
Nope. I don't want the chocolate fudge brownie. Nope. I don't want the beer. Nope. I don't want to be in the inflatable hot tub until all hours of the night. Nope. No, I don't want to party on a Monday night. Nope. That needs to be my word. I need to start saying no to way more things in my life. So Caitlin, would you like to, and Caitlin's going to choose her word of the year too. And Caitlin, choosing saints is not just for Catholics. These were real people who lived at different times in history. And even if you're not Catholic, you can get inspired by them. And I will tell you, there are a lot of saints who are like the patron saint of like death and widows and stuff. So don't worry, if you get one that's like the patron saint of something terrible. People always flip out and they get mad at me, like because I made this generator, they're going to have a bad year now because they got the patron saint of chlamydia or something. It's like, look, I can't control what these people's patronage is. I will say, though, there's a little truth to it. This
little.
Because this one year I got St. Michael the Archangel, and he was the patron of like hospitals, EMS workers, ambulances, death, people in the, oh my gosh, do you hear this yelling? People who are near death, people who have terrible, no. Come on in. Okay, yeah, that's fine. You guys can walk in front of the camera. This is Pammy and her friend who were using a pseudonym to protect her privacy. Margaret, okay? All right, go ahead and go stand over by Miss Caitlin. Let me finish what you can just walk in front of the camera. This is not a formal podcast here. Okay, so I posted on my blog, I made a joke and I said, uh-oh, what's in store for me this year because St. Michael the Archangel is my saint. And I got a lecturing email from a friend of mine who said, hey, you should stop putting bad ideas in people's heads because you're just making people superstitious by saying that something bad is going to happen to you because St. Michael the Archangel was the saint that was chosen for you. So you need to cut it out and stop saying that, you guys. It was honestly the best moment of my life. I mean, Pammy, when you children were born, also up there, but I just got to keep it real. The best moment of my life is when I got to reply to this woman and I was like, I have been hospitalized for bilateral pulmonary embolisms and I might die. The satisfaction that I got when she was lecturing me about like, you shouldn't say that something bad is going to happen to you. You're being a bad witness. I was like, something bad did happen to me. I'm about to die. Ha! And it was like worth risking my life to be able to send that told you so email. If I had actually died, I'd be up in heaven or purgatory or wherever I ended up and being like, that was honestly worth it. Like, because I got to send and I told you so email to somebody who was lecturing me. Okay. So anyway, on that note, we'll just have you guys pick words just to keep this fine episode rolling. Quote unquote, Margaret or Pammy, who would like to go first? Okay. Pammy. All right.
Do I just make a
yeah.
word, or do I
No. You use the generator that I programmed. So go ahead, Pammy.
I saw it on your TikTok.
Oh, did you? Okay, yeah.
I was scrolling all the way through it.
All right, so not that one, Caitlin. Yeah, the word generator. Okay. So we're just now getting used to using websites on the podcast. Okay.
Me personally, if I could choose it, I would say grind set, but
grind set. Yes, that's a good one. But all right, so yeah, let her. Okay, so
it takes a minute.
And what a great word. Okay.
No new friends because
okay. Well, say what the word is into the microphone.
New.
What does that word mean to you, Pammy?
It means like new beginnings or like basically like a new mindset or like a new goal, for the new year.
I like it. Yeah, it's kind of saying out with the old, in with the new. It's like I was talking about earlier. Maybe that means that there are things that Pammy needs to let go of, like new chores, new areas of the house to clean, new systems for getting her room in shape before the housekeepers come. Oh, you need to do that, by the way, clean your room. So this is what this podcast is for. Oh, well, tell them that I'm going to flip out if they don't let you in to clean. Okay, quote unquote, Margaret, would you like to choose a word? You don't need to worry about staying away from the camera. We just won't cut to it when you're choosing. Okay.
Just answer your dad's call really quick.
Her desk. Okay, all right. Caitlin, would you like to choose a word?
Let's see.
We're not showing her face.
Ease. Oh,
Ease.
interesting.
Yeah.
There's
Wow.
a lot that can be said for that.
Yeah, so Caitlin has not had a life of ease at all in the last year, but I like that. So what does that say to you about what 2024 holds for you?
I don't know.
Well, you guys can just go.
No, she needs to do her word.
Well, okay, all right,
we'll come
Caitlin.
back to
All right,
this.
yes, okay, all right.
Okay,
Quote unquote, Margaret.
Just once. Okay, no.
Okay, yeah. Unwavering.
Wow.
Okay. It means like you don't second guess yourself. You're just like, we're moving forward this way, and I'm not going to be. No one's going to get me to like bully me into changing.
And what does that mean to you?
This means, this word, like, it reminds me to, like, not, like, be just, like, a follower and do, like, my own things, because if I just follow everyone else, then, like, what's that gonna do for me?
I love it. I love it. Wisdom from 7th graders here. Okay, you guys can head out. You can just walk in front of the camera. That's fine. Okay, so Caitlin, you got ease. So if that were my word, like if I were you, I would say that means like find ways to bring more ease into your life. Like, so now you need an inflatable hot tub, I think
right?
is what we're learning. All right, so start it over and don't click just yet. Okay. Now, I am going to choose my word for the year. You know, we're not cheating. This is legitimately my word. And I need a good, strong word for this year. I need a good one. I need a great word that's going to just, you know, get me in line, get me to change my out of control ways that I'm currently in. And I need to like not have an annoying word. So okay. All right. Click Caitlin. All right, here we go. Courage. Okay.
You're not happy with that one?
I don't love it. I mean, because I feel like I've had a lot of courage.
Tons of
Yeah.
courage.
Can we choose a new word? Second time's the charm.
Might be third time. You never know. All right, here we go.
Courage. Watch. I kind of like that.
I do
Watch
actually like that
could
one
be like,
because-
watch my special. My comedy special is coming. One more.
The
All
comedy
right.
millions come in.
Yeah, watch the comedy. Thank you. One more. The third time's seriously the charm. This one's
Always
going to
the
be
charm.
it. Vivid. Okay, I like
that's-
that.
yeah.
I like that. Vivid. Okay, there we go. That's my word of the year. We're just going to forget that the first two happened. My word of the year is vivid. What that means to me is, dressing in more colors, you know, vivid,
yeah.
vivid colors.
Stepping outside.
Another thing that could mean is just making life more vivid. It could be things like getting flowers in the house, you know, vivid colors. Vivid means kind of like bright and airy and bold. And so it could be bringing color into the house, doing things to make the house more vivid when you walk in. Actually, let's look up. I will look up define vivid. Okay. Vivid means producing powerful feelings or strong, clear images in the mind.
Wow.
Oof.
Oof. That one is a good one. Third time is the charm.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, I love it. Deep or bright. I love it. I love it. Okay, so now I will choose a saint. Vivid is my word. Now I will choose a saint. Okay. And you can't be, you know, I don't want to be like, can't be someone lame. You can't say that about saints.
Huh?
All right. Here we go. What's my saint? Maybe first time's the charm for this.
First time is
Saint Jerome. September 30th. I like it. He is. So his patronage is what? What is it? What's the first patron? What's the first one?
Archaeologists.
Oh, nice. Bible scholars, right?
Yep.
What does that say? Lithuanians? It's something with an L.
Wait, hold on.
Librarians.
Yeah, okay.
Not
I can't read it either,
Lithuanians.
it's so small.
Yeah. Can you? Yeah.
School children.
Okay.
Students.
Okay. And September
Translators.
30th. Yeah. Okay. I'll stick with Saint Jerome. Do you want to choose a saint,
Yeah,
Caitlin? Okay.
Let's see.
All right.
Here
Here
we
we
are.
go. What's Caitlin's saint? Oh. We don't want to sound disappointed. What is what's his okay, so it's St. Andrew Corsini. His feast day is February 4th. What is his patronage?
Against civil disorder and against riot.
Oh, well, if you were thinking about starting a riot, do you want to try again? Do you want to
Just one
see
more,
if
you
they
never know. My first word was okay, so
Yeah. St. Joseph.
got a lot.
You cannot beat that. This
No.
is Jesus's stepfather. Okay, well, you're all set. And he has so many different patronages. You know, he is the patron of workers. So that means the comedy millions
Oh,
are
for
coming
sure.
in
Yeah,
for both of
there
us.
we are.
For sure. Okay, so my word is vivid. I really, really, really like that because there is that tangible element to it also, that I could wear more vivid clothing. I could do more vivid makeup. I actually just bought some blue eyeshadow. You know, I could do blue eyeshadow, vivid makeup. What's funny is I'm wearing a very unvivid outfit right now, like no makeup in the wildebeest jacket. And so it's kind of funny that like there's nothing vivid about what's going on in my life right now. Okay, so let's talk about New Year's resolutions, the new year. goals, things like that. And I am especially talking to you, even if you don't perceive that you are a New Year's resolution person. I do think the new year is a great time to stop and ask yourself how things are going and if you like what you are getting out of life. I don't understand people who don't do New Year's resolutions or don't use January 1st as a time to reset, because all well-run human organizations have a set time on the calendar where you stop and you take a look at how things are going and what you might want to change. In politics, there's the State of the Union address. In businesses, there is quarterly financials. You look at your financials quarterly. The reason is because it is easy to float through life and not recognize trends because they're just happening gradually. You're like the frog slowly being boiled in the water. You know that analogy?
No, but it sounds terrible.
It's terrible. Sorry, Caitlin. I'm sorry. Like you went your whole life without knowing this. There's some saying that this is for the French are very nasty people, and I'm kidding. My cousin-in-law is French. It's lovely, but they eat frogs and snails. And there's a saying that if you're going to eat a frog, a humane way to kill it is you turn up the water slowly and it doesn't realize that the water is getting hot, and then it just kind of slowly dies. There's probably an inflatable hot tub analogy there too. We just keep turning up the heat until we're like French frogs, you know. Everything's a hot tub analogy on this show now. So that can happen in life, except in this metaphor, instead of you being a frog getting boiled, you're getting boiled with midlife ennui.
Mm-hmm. Ennui.
Bringing out an ennui reference. This is what happens when you just party 5 nights a week all December. So that's what happens is that's how you end up. You're like, one day you wake up and you're some age that you never thought you'd be. Maybe for you it's 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever. And you're like, well, this isn't where I wanted to be. I haven't gotten what I wanted out of life. Well, you know why you ended up that way? Because you don't do New Year's resolutions. Because you don't take January 1st as a time to say, does my life suck or am I happy with it? You have to take that time to step back and see how things are going and take a pause on the madness of life and just say, is this who I want to be? Am I going where I want to go? Start with things like, do I like my morning routine? I mean, do I like the clothes that I have to wear? Is this where I wanted to be in terms of marriage, in terms of family, in terms of health, in terms of weight? You have to take these kind of pauses. So it's a requirement. You have to think about where your life is on January 1st and what you might want to change. Now, the key to New Year's resolutions is to not say how you're going to do it, but to say what you want out of life. The mistake people make is they will say, I'm joining a gym on January 1st. Well, you may very quickly find that you're not a gym person. I did that 1 year. It was 2017 to 2018. At the 2018 New Year, I was that person. I showed up at the gym January 1st and I was committed. I was absolutely committed. January 1st, I'm joining a gym, and it lasted about as long as you would think it would last, like 2 weeks. I mean, I told you guys before, I would go in and some guy would be sprinting on the treadmill next to me. And I would get on and do my little run and get exhausted and pretend like I forgot something at home. And I would leave. When I was sitting in my car cranking the ignition, that guy was still sprinting. He was still in the same sprint and my whole gym trip was over. So that's how I did in the gym. And I remember, I got a personal trainer there at the gym for a while, and she just, I was like she didn't understand that some people really don't like fitness. And I think she thought, if I just have this woman do 50 burpees every time I see her, I bet she'll start to really like this, and I bet she won't quit.
Oh, yeah.
She was very surprised by that outcome. So, that ended exactly like you would expect it would. But what's interesting is I did end up losing 40 pounds during that time period. It was just from intermittent fasting. I didn't work out at all. I was like, oh, this is incredible. I actually don't have to go to a gym at all. This is amazing. So that's why you should keep your New Year's vision pretty open and keep it light and inspiring. For your New Year's vision, you don't want to go into a lot of specifics, meaning I don't think you want to say for your New Year's vision, in 2024, I want to weigh this particular amount. I think what you want to say is, in 2024, I want to look in the mirror and feel svelte and feel amazing and just smile at the clothes I'm able to put on and not be like Jen is right now. Like, I can literally feel the fat rolls spilling over these pants into the wildebeest jacket. So you don't want that in 2024. Oh my gosh, Caitlin and I are like, you're just going to have to roll us out of this studio. Like for my next comedy show, I'll just be like rolling on stage. It'll be like beep, 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 like a forklift bringing me in. Yes. So I wouldn't put specific numbers on it for your general New Year's goal. It's more like, to paraphrase the hippies, it's about the vibe. Like, what vibe do you want? Like, maybe you want to, maybe you hate your current job. Rather than say, I'm going to get a new job at this place, you could just say, by the end of 2024, I have a job that I feel so lucky to have this job. It's so much fun. It takes care of my bills. And so you don't do the specifics for that. It's just, what is that feeling that would make you feel really great? Now, then you break it down into more short-term goals. So once you have that feeling, you might say, okay, so that's the feeling. Let's say you want a new job. Okay, so you want that feeling of like, wow, I love this work and it makes plenty of money. So then you do short-term goals that have numbers on it. So you might say, okay, by January 15th, I will make a list of 5 industries that I'd love to be in. By January 30th, I will have sent out 20 resumes. Or if you're starting a business, I will have come up with a name for my business and gotten a business bank account, something like that. So there is a place for specific goals with numbers and dates and all of that. But that's not what you do on January 1st. That's not the New Year's resolution thing, because here's the thing. As we talked about in the Fine podcast episode a few episodes back on iterating, if your goal is something difficult to achieve, you are going to have to iterate through a lot of different ways to get there. I talk about this with weight loss a lot, that I had to iterate through 1,000 failed things before I found the one that worked for me. So for example, if I had set my New Year's resolution that year in 2018, if I had said, I will go to the gym 4 days a week, well, when that fell apart, 2 weeks into the new year, when that fell apart, then I would have been discouraged and I would have just felt like, oh, another New Year's resolution out the window. And I would have been like, this is why I don't do New Year's resolutions. Whereas I just said, I want to feel great about how I look. I want to feel like I look trim, like I look great for, a weight that's right for my body, like I look svelte, whatever. And because that was the goal, because I put goals around how I want to feel, the general vibe, rather than the how to, like the number of trips to the gym or whatever, I didn't feel like a failure when the gym didn't work out. The gym was a short-term possibility of getting into that place of losing weight and feeling svelte and fitting in whatever jeans or whatever. The gym was one possibility. So when it didn't work out, I just kept iterating. I thought, okay, maybe I need to try something different with diet or whatever. And then that's when I discovered intermittent fasting and everything changed. But even if that hadn't worked, that would have been just another opportunity for iteration. Try something else. So just make sure that whatever goals you set for the new year are not about the how, they're about the what. They're about that end place you want to be. And then over the short term, that's where you try a bunch of specific hows. I'll send out this number of resumes, or I'll apply to work at this company, or I'll launch a new YouTube that I try to make money from. Oh, that's what I should do because I'm raking it in on my current YouTube. So that is how you need to approach New Year's resolutions. It's just start with the positive vibes, the positive feelings when you think about what you want from 2024, and then break it down to the specifics from there, and accept that you will have to iterate a lot. This will not be a one and done thing. You'll fail at a lot of things. Maybe you are personally excited about joining a gym and you're going to do that. And maybe you'll last longer than I did. Maybe it will even work. Maybe you'll be a gym person and that's your new thing. That really might happen. But if it doesn't, you don't get discouraged because you're like, yeah, okay, that wasn't my commitment to go to the gym a certain number of times. It wasn't my commitment to work at this one company. I just said I wanted a job that's really fulfilling. I thought that one company might be it. Turns out that company is not it. So whatever, I'll just keep iterating until I find the fit that gets me there. Now, another tip, this is really funny. As I was preparing for this episode, I looked at my New Year's resolutions that I wrote up December 31st, 2022. This gives us a little bit of a clue as to why I've become a hot tub wasteoid this month instead of being on my grind set, because I didn't hit any of my goals for 2023. Maybe that's why I'm constantly drinking beer in a Walmart inflatable hot tub. It's like, let's wrap this up, let's
End it on a high note.
Right, yeah, exactly. Let's stop caring. Let's not be on our trillionaire grind set anymore. Let's be on our Walmart grind set, our Walmart inflatable hot tub grind set. That's where I am at this point. Guys, I didn't hit any of my goals. But no, I did I said I would film a special.
You did. Check
and
it.
I hit a major goal button.
That's also deserves an applause though too.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. So that's actually big. Okay. I said
right.
I would film a special.
We'll transition
and I did. The rest didn't even really come close, to be honest. I didn't come close. But this is why. Look, this is why what you do when you set specific goals, like this income goal or that income goal or whatever, this thing that I wanted, anything. It was this long list of goals. Like, nope, not even close. Nope, no. Here's the thing, guys. The key is to say, I will hit this goal or be the kind of person who could have. And I will say I did that. I hustled at the level of someone who accomplished these goals. I can't control the fact that fate is against me. And every door closed in my face and all of my enemies got all of the successes that I was after. I can't control that. But I am the kind of person who could have had those successes. And instead, while my enemies are selling out arenas, I'm sitting in a $250 Walmart hot tub.
I'll drink to that.
Yeah, no, it was $248. So different people, different plans. This really is why I have come to the conclusion in recent years that I do think goals matter. They matter a lot. Otherwise, you end up just drifting into an existence that one day you'll wake up and realize you could have done more. You could have contributed more to the world. And that is really the worst feeling. I think it's not about outward success. It's not about, you could have won an Academy Award or something, but it's a really bad feeling when you think, you know what, I had a talent within me. I had that blue flame. I had some kind of special way that I could have loved the world, and I didn't because I was busy, I was distracted, and or I was fearful. And there were a lot of years that I could have been doing that and making an impact. And I didn't. And that's a crappy feeling, especially when you see someone else out there doing it. They always say that the worst moment in life is meeting the person you could have been. Oof, that's always
tough.
like, that sounds rough. And usually that's meant for like success. Like you meet a CEO and you're like, oh, wow, I could also sell my soul to make a lot of money and never see my family. And so I don't mean it in that like CEO way, but in the way of, someone who just had similar gifts and talents to you and is loving the world through those talents. And you see it resonating, like these DIY people that I follow on social media. And every time I get disgusted with my career, I'm like, I'm just going to be a DIY person. That's me. I'm just going to renovate houses, which is like so funny because I'd be so terrible at it. But I'm like, no, I'm just going to I'm going to get a farmhouse and I'm going to renovate it. And that's what I'm about now. I was not appreciated in this industry. So can you imagine me trying to do DIY?
No.
I'm like, it looks easy. I can see it from there. So anyway, I mean, I could imagine that there are some people who have a similar kind of talent who are like, I could have done that, but because of my own fears and just feelings of being blocked and just never evaluating where my life was going, I didn't do it. And so you end up having these feelings of bitterness and resentment towards other people because you see people resonating with what they're doing. You see people saying, wow, you made my day. I love seeing this. This is so cool. And that's a gut punch to be like, wow, I could have had that impact on people too. Wow, I could have shared something that really added a little more life and light to the world. And I didn't do that. I didn't try. You don't want to end up with that feeling. So I think the goal is to set goals in the area of your blue flame if you know what it is, or in the area of discovering your blue flame if you don't know what it is. But then just have the mentality that you're really here to add life and light and love to the world. So if you get sent on a different path than the specific goal that you were going for, that's okay. Like my goal was to make $1 million in my career this year. I didn't come anywhere near that. And instead, I'm sitting in a discount inflatable hot tub from Walmart drinking cheap beer on a Monday night. But I accept that outcome because that's where God wanted me to be. I sit in the blow up hot tub and I'm like, I'm right where God wants me. I'm right where God wants me. I'm kind of serious, honestly, that sometimes I think we don't hit the goals that we wanted because God really did have something different and better in store. And I think that's kind of the whole secret to life, is to try to accomplish interesting things and to push yourself beyond your comfort zone. That's kind of the purpose of goals, is to just get you beyond your comfort zone, get you to try something you wouldn't normally try, get you to have a little extra energy, put a little bit more into each day, but then turn the outcome over to God, because maybe God just gave you the inspiration for that goal, not because you're actually going to accomplish it, but because you needed that motivation to get up, to just get out of bed, go to that networking event, hand out that business card because you were going to meet that person who told you about the inflatable hot tubs at Walmart. And like, that was the goal all along. Maybe the goal never was what the original thing that you thought you were headed for. So set your goals and push for them. But understand, if you end up in a different place, that was probably the plan all along. And it's allowing you to experience life in a newer and richer way than you ever thought. I didn't think I'd ever be blow up hot tub person. And I am accepting that as this new rich dimension on my life that I never saw coming. And I was in the hot tub at all hours last night drinking beer. And I was thinking, like, this is very pleasant. It's a cold December night. I've never been in an outdoor hot tub. That I'm not that person. That's not what I'm about. I am not part of that community. I've never been in a hot tub at night I've never been in a hot tub really, period, not much, but certainly not when it's cold outside. And I was just looking at the stars and noticing the cold weather. And I thought, this is cool. This is cool. There's a lot that I didn't accomplish this year. 99% of what I wanted to accomplish, I did not. But this is also a really cool experience, and I'm here for it right here, right now, and I appreciate it, and it's really fine that this is where we have ended up. And I think that is the right attitude with goals. Set them, go for them, but then appreciate all of the little crazy situations that you get led into when you don't hit the goals. Appreciate all of the little twists and tangents and sidebars and, as my kids would say, side quests, all the side quests that you get sent on, and just realize that's part of it. It's a feature, not a bug. When you don't hit your goal and you end up on a different path, you know, if you're trying to work for that one company and it doesn't, they don't accept you, they pass on your resume, but maybe on the way to that interview, you found your new favorite coffee shop and you're super inspired every time you go there, and you end up writing up an incredible business plan because you just love the energy of this new coffee shop. Well, maybe that was the goal all along. So when you accept those detours and those dead ends and the quote unquote failures and the things that don't work out, you will find that you probably end up accomplishing something bigger in life than if the original goal had worked out. And again, I saw this quote the other day in scripture, by which I mean Instagram, where it was like, maybe the point of the goal is not what you get, but who you become. And again, I'm actually not even kidding about this. I became the kind of person who could have hit those goals this year. I was on my trillionaire grind set most days. It all fell apart in December, but until December, I was the kind of person who could hit these goals. And in all seriousness, I really did change this year for the better. I changed in some really profound ways that have been very good for me. Just overall, they're good for my marriage. They're good for my family. They're good for me psychologically. And the reason I changed is because I was trying to hit business goals. The business goals didn't end up working out, but I am a different, much better, slightly fatter person who because I was going for those goals. I have transformed in really, really, really positive ways. And honestly, I think that actually matters a lot. And as crazy as this sounds, you're going to think that this is not true, but it's actually true. If I could have had the external results, but not the internal transformation that it took to get there, I actually wouldn't take it. And I know you're like, Jen, you wouldn't take the Comedy Millions. You wouldn't sell out arenas all over I actually wouldn't, because in the place I was in 1 year ago, I wasn't ready for the big goals. Psychologically, I wasn't. There was so much that I didn't know. There were so many ways that I was still melting down and fixating, and I wouldn't give up control, and I had negative attitudes, and I really had to let go of all that in order to become the kind of person who could hit big goals. And now I have not hit any of those goals, but I'm the kind of person who could have. And I will say there is honestly, seriously, a lot of value in that. And with that, we are taking next week off. I will just go back to the hot tub because that is my new lifestyle. And I hope that you have a wonderful new year. Oh, the word of the year generators and Saints name generator. We will put those in the show notes. Remind me, Caitlin, to put that in the show notes. It's wordoftheyear.me. And I think saintsnamegenerator.com. And don't forget to look up the Patreon, patreon.com/thisisjen. And we will be back with you in 2024.
Woo!